Well, this afternoon we saw those temperatures get back into the lower 80s, a good mix of sun and clouds, and some areas even saw some spotty storms. Let's go ahead and take a look at our highs this afternoon. We made it to 83 degrees at DIA. A lot of the urban corridor was in the lower 80s, but we maxed out at 79 degrees in Fort Collins. 90 was the high in Pueblo. You can see those higher temperatures further east. 60s, 50s, 70s in the high country. 75 was the high out in Grand Junction this afternoon. Now, of course, things cooling down. Out at DIA, we're at 62 degrees, cloudy skies, winds coming in from the south at around 8 miles per hour. And here in the 9 News backyard, it's not too bad right now. I'm at 66 degrees, and it's going to continue to, of course, get a little cooler as we make our way into those overnight hours. But we are seeing temperatures across the Front Range and Eastern Plains. See a wide range here. We're in the lower 60s right now in Denver, but then just a little bit further east and southeast, we're at 80 still in Lamar, 71 in Springfield, 76 in Pueblo. The high country cooling down into the 40s and 50s right now. We're at 64 degrees out west in Grand Junction. We're continuing to monitor our HD Doppler radar. So this afternoon we saw some very spotty storms move through the area as expected. Denver didn't get any of that, but as you take a look just south of Denver, between Denver and Colorado Springs, we did have some storms kind of pop up as they continue to make their way further eastward. Nothing too big or intense. Where we are seeing the bigger storms, though, is going to be through central Nebraska. You can see how large and intense these storms are. These storms are expected to bring a lot of locally heavy downpours, hail, and even those strong winds. So lots of alerts tied to that. Here in Colorado, though, we're just going to continue to get clearer and calmer throughout the evening. Overnight lows near 54 degrees expected in Denver. Most of the Front Range will be in the lower to mid 50s. We'll see the same thing across the Eastern Plains, except for Springfield, seeing a low of just 64 degrees there this evening. 30s and 40s in the high country tonight, and a low near 55 expected out west in Grand Junction. Now, if you're making your plans for Saturday, well, tomorrow we are going to stay mostly dry and mostly sunny. But I say mostly, and that's because we are expecting some very spotty storms in the afternoon and evening hours. Now, most of these storms are just going to stay in the high country and the northern portions of Colorado, but you can't rule out a stray raindrop making its way into Denver and other portions of the Front Range. Now, any stray raindrop across the urban corridor are going to be very light. Most of that activity, if any, will stay in the high country and then again northern portions of Colorado as we go throughout the afternoon and evening hours. And then overnight, tomorrow night into Sunday is where we really clear out, and we expect more sunny skies for our Sunday. But as far as tomorrow goes, we're going to see similar temperatures tomorrow as what we saw today. Another high near 83 degrees. Most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains in the lower to mid 80s. You can see some warmer temperatures further east and southeast. 90 expected again in Pueblo. 60s and 70s in the high country. And we'll see those low 80s across the western slope. Taking a closer look into the Front Range, you can see most of the Denver metro area will be in the upper 70s to low 80s. Cooler weather, of course, as you make your way further west. 65 expected tomorrow in Idaho Springs. Now we take a look further north, and this is where we're going to see more of those lower 80s and then more of those 60s as you make your way toward the high country. We're expecting a high of just 61 in Winter Park, 62 in Netherland, 64 in Grand Lake. So tomorrow we're going to see those temperatures a lot like what we saw today. Most of us will stay mostly dry. Can't rule out a stray raindrop, but most of those storms will stay very small, very spotty in the high country and further north. But for our game day on Sunday, Broncos home opener, that's where we're going to see a lot of sunshine. Those temperatures back into the upper 80s. It's going to be a warm one.